What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Fulcrum Report.
Woo!
Yeah, make some noise. If you wouldn't mind, guys, before we start the show, please drop a like, subscribe to our channel, comment below. We love Star Wars just as much as you guys, and we're definitely talking with you guys now, so get in there. And hit the little bell notification so you know when the Fulcrum Report comes up and all those comics you guys been asking about. So without further ado, Fulcrum Report Episode 9. So first, I'm your host, Sebastian, this week. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter, and also my poor YouTube channel that's getting no attention lately. But Spider-Man, I have that pre-ordered, so I'm going to have some stuff coming that way. So keep an eye out over there. Marshall, thank you so much, Marshall, for being back on the show.
Thank you for having me back for episode 9. So far, not got a title.
Yeah, right. Episode 9 untitled. And in the cupboard in the UK, we have Harrison. He's back.
Hello. I have returned triumphant.
But let's get started. So this week we're going to talk some Star Wars Resistance, some new casting news for episode 9, a little bit of Marvel, and some Cyberpunk 2077. Real quick, let's get our question out of the way for the week that we're going to answer at the end of the episode. If you guys were to shamelessly cram in a Battle Royale mode into a AAA game, what game would you cram it into? So, yeah. We'll get those down and answer those at the end of the episode, and we'll have a winner. Yeah. All right, cool. Star Wars Resistance. We got a new trailer. We're introduced to the team, Fireball team. Yeah, we got all these new cast members. They talked about the show a little bit. We got some more looks at the show, and basically kind of a story of what's going on. Some new looks at some pilots, some droids. We definitely got way more of a clip this time. Starting with Marshall, what are you guys thinking with this? Is it getting you more pumped for the show, or are you a little bit more scared for the show?
It looks like a lot of fun. Like it's not taking itself too seriously. So I think it's going to be quite a good comedic show.
Is that something that you want out of Star Wars? Are you okay having like this funny little, like, I don't know, maybe not too funny, but like Marvel-esque kind of like TV show off to the side with the constant quips and all that stuff? Are you okay with that in the world of Star Wars? I mean, especially since it's geared for kids, but to get you to watch it, is that something that would be cool with you?
Yeah, sure. Like I think we've had our fair share of dark Star Wars for a little while, so something a bit more fun. Yeah, it's a welcome change.
Harrison, what are you thinking about we got a 3-minute trailer basically. What are you thinking about it? Are you getting more pumped for the show? Are you gonna actually sit down and check this out premiere day?
I might not manage premiere day because I've got a bad memory for stuff like that, but I'm definitely more pumped for the show. Yeah. One of the things I like is that I'm seeing some stuff in there that I don't normally see from Star Wars. So like they're on what looks like almost an entirely water planet, which is kind of cool. You know, we've seen Hoth or all ice, and we've seen Tatooine all desert, so just a giant ocean. Looks pretty cool to me. And I'm seeing little droids and stuff that I haven't seen before. Weird little like home-baked droids that look really cool.
Yeah, you mentioned that earlier when we were talking about the show. Do you want to talk about that new droid and how it's almost kind of like a naked R2-D2?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's like I was sort of trying to see what you could of it in the trailer, but it's like an R2 unit, but instead of the usual kind of dome top to it, or even the sort of lampshade one that you had on other units, they've put on like it's not quite a Rebel fighter helmet, but it's that kind of style speeder helmet, and it hasn't got any of the chassis on it like a normal unit would, so it's a bit like C-3PO when he appeared in Episode 1. And he didn't have any of his plating on, you just saw bare wiring. It's like that, but for an R2 unit. And that kind of got me pumped, because I was like, oh, that's cool. And it looks like they've made it in their garage, and it looks like they're scrappy, literally.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm actually super psyched for that, Harrison, that you pointed that out, because, I'm gonna watch this show, for sure. I'm like, currently partially pumped for it. But you pointing out the droids, I'm actually quite enjoying the droids lately in Star Wars, other than that chick from Solo. But yeah, I'm digging it. Marshall, do you have any thoughts on the droids and all all the fun stuff that comes with the world of Star Wars, and maybe that stuff they can pump a little bit more into now that it's, Dave Filoni flat out said it's geared for children.
Yeah, well, looking at the image of the droids, the lady with the red hair has the orange and light blue suit, and her droid matches her, so I'm guessing that's her droid. So I'm gonna guess that each pilot has their own droid as well. So I think we're gonna see a lot more droids, and I think that'd be pretty cool. Don't know who that little scrappy one belongs to though.
Yeah, and then also notice in the concept art for Kaz's, I believe that's his Resistance pilot uniform. If you notice in that, his droid, his R2 unit matches his pilot suit. I don't know if something happens to that early on, but because I didn't see much of that in the trailer. But yeah, you do see a bit of matching going on. Also, something I wanted to talk about with you guys, the kind of the thing that always gets me pumped is the new bad guys, and I don't know how you guys feel about the new variants, but starting with Harrison, did you get a chance to check out that new red pilot trooper? It's looking like the First Order pilot trooper.
I did, yeah, and it's quite intriguing because it suggests this pilot trooper has a certain ship, and I want to see what the ship this guy flies is. I want to know what's so special that you get the special red uniform.
Yeah, no, Marshall, no. Why don't you talk about it? What are you psyched about this red pilot, or are you just like, oh, it's just a red pilot?
Yeah, he's clearly very unique. Separate from the other pilots.
Yeah, I'm trying to zoom up on the image.
That bright red. Maybe you have like a bright red TIE fighter or something like that. That'd be pretty cool. Yeah,
his helmet almost resembles like Clone Trooper Mandalorian. The visor does at least, and then you got the Clone Trooper-esque kind of style.
The second I saw the helmet, it reminded me of the one on the cover of Republic Commando, the game.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Just that
with the huge visor.
That front little breather bit, yeah.
So do you think this could possibly be a First Order commando then?
Very well could be, yeah.
Do you guys think that there's just one of this guy? Do you think he's a particular character and maybe he's a specialist that they've called in? Or do you think that there's a group of these guys and maybe he's the leader of the the special forces pilots?
Well, looking at what the show is and what I know of it, considering that there's a lot of racing involved, I'm assuming that for some reason this trooper's job is going to be race a bunch of teenagers. And that's why he gets that, because he like... I don't want to diss it because it's a cartoon, but I think he's going to be a bit silly cartoon, and there's going to be a sort of... Every week he's going to be trying to beat that dastardly Team Fireball, but they're always going to come in and ruin his plans.
There's something that I just got an idea for. This might be one particular character, and if Kaz is going in to find the mole within the Resistance or the Republic or whatever, what if that's this character and one of the characters from the team is that character under the red armor?
It's very possible, yeah. Very possible.
I know, we're just totally creating scenarios from looking at one image of a red trooper standing in front of I believe it's an officer, so, you could talk about this all day. Oh, he's receiving an assignment, possibly, and I don't know, he could also be a First Order, racer, because you got these race teams going on. There's something going on with these. This could be the First Order's racer. Would you guys possibly like to see politics dealt through these races? I don't know what the whole point of the races are yet, but what are you guys thinking?
I don't think that they'd settle their political disagreements through a race.
Yeah.
But that would be pretty funny.
Harrison, what are you thinking these races are at? What's the purpose of these races?
Well, I think in the trailer there was a bit where one of the creators said that they race to make money. So, it seems that, the racing is the day job, and then Kaz spying on the First Order, that's his side gig. And I don't know why the First Order are racing. I bet you they are, but I don't know why. And again, this is where I'm getting to, it could just be, it's cartoon logic, it's going to be well, we have to show this planet that we are the best, so we'll be the fastest. I mean, I'm pretty sure you won because you got all the guns, not because you're faster. No, we're the fastest.
No.
Maybe they raced and to bet on Luke Skywalker's lightsaber, and that's how Maz Kanata ended up with it. Like, she won a bet against the Empire and got his lightsaber back.
You know, Marshall, as silly as that idea is, I would totally be down to see, at least some explanation of how the hell that lightsaber got there. Because a story for another time is about now. So,
yeah.
One last thought on this also that I was thinking maybe this could be a, since everybody is complaining that the first new two movies of the trilogy, how they barely show us anything about the First Order or anything like that. Maybe this could be a way of opening that up and then also introducing stuff for us to see ahead of time. That way we're more familiarized with it when it shows up in episode 9 and we're not like, hey, they just added these red troopers out of nowhere. I mean, to add a bit of backstory, do you think that might be possible for...
Yeah, I think they will. I think they're pretty smart, and Disney, has the Marvel experience now. They know that the more connected that you make things, right now people just love it, and it's what's hot, and people haven't turned off it yet. So, and they're always looking for new opportunities, so they're going to want to set up a thing that one day they can turn it into, if they can take this into the cinema and make loads of money off of it, like bloody Paw Patrol has, they're going to do it.
No, absolutely. Marshall, what are you thinking?
Maybe, but I don't think many people are going to watch this show that just watch the films, if I'm honest. So if there are things that are revealed in this show that explain things that happen in episode 9, and some people don't see it, I think that... Do you get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there might be a little bit, but not much.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Another thing also that I noticed in Star Wars Rebels was, and I'm using Rebels as an example because that was dealt under Disney, and I'm expecting around the same treatment of, childness and all that kind of stuff. But they did introduce a couple things here and there. Like, they had some stuff about Malachor, which barely had anything to do with the Knights of Ren and Kylo Ren and stuff like that. They showed some crossguard lightsabers. Little hints and nods, but nothing super, super big. So, this is set in the same era, so I'm expecting a teeny tiny bit of something more. But, yeah, maybe not too much. Let's talk about... Matt Smith. We got Matt Smith is joining the cast of Star Wars Episode 9. I know he was one of the doctors in Doctor Who, and I'm sorry, we're not Doctor Who fans here today. We did see him in Terminator Genesis. Are you excited to see Matt Smith in Star Wars? He definitely looks like a bad guy.
Yeah, well...
Harrison, go ahead.
I do think he's going to be a bad guy. 100% reckon he will be. I think it would be weird to bring him... Matt Smith's very good at playing a bad guy, even though he became to, the fore as Doctor Who and very much a good guy. He's actually quite good at playing a villain, and in Terminator Genesis, he's quite fun in that.
Marshall, are you seeing this guy as an Imperial officer, or are we thinking he's possibly... Yeah, are you okay?
That's exactly what I thought. As soon as I saw his face, I could just picture him in the uniform and everything as a bad guy. But I don't think they'd waste talent of his kind on just a random officer. I think he's going to play a pretty big role.
No, absolutely. Let's give a little bit of love to Terminator Genesis. A lot of people gave that movie a lot of flack. Marshall, you saw Terminator Genesis. Did you like that one? Did you like him in that?
It was okay, but Terminator 2 is one of my favorite films of all
absolutely.
time.
I'm just saying, what we get after Terminator 2, at least, it does tie into the... Yeah.
It was okay. I'd watch it if it was on, TV on a Sunday afternoon or something.
Right.
I'd watch it, but I wouldn't rush out and buy the Blu-ray collector's edition.
Terminator Genesis is really fun. If... I saw it, and I just really enjoyed it. I like some of the gags. I love how referential it is to the rest of the series. And then all the stuff they did, where they were like, hey, we've got a new way to beat a T-1000 with dropping acid on it. That was really cool. And then Arnie's T-1000 at the end of the movie. He's a liquid metal Terminator now. That's cool.
I know. There was There was a, if you are a Terminator nerd, I feel like that was more of a fan service movie, and a lot of people get upset about fan service movies. But if you're a nerd about this kind of stuff and you liked the '80s ones and you dug some of the stuff from the new ones, they kind of just crammed it all into one movie. And yeah, I dug that one, but I guess it doesn't matter because the real Terminator 3 is coming out. Do you guys know what's going on with that one?
No, I am unaware of this.
I know they're bringing back Linda Hamilton.
Yeah, it's going to be like the first one that's set directly after the second one. So they're calling it like I mean, I don't know what they're actually calling it.
Yeah, I think are they ignoring like every Terminator after 2? Are they ignoring? I think. Is that right?
I believe so. Is that okay to, I know they're talking about doing that even with Alien. Is it okay to kind of stop a cinematic universe halfway through and be like, hey, these movies don't matter? Do you think that could be also something that possibly might happen to Star Wars,
I don't think it's going to happen with Star Wars.
Okay.
Not at all. But I'd be absolutely fine with it happening with Terminator and Alien. Just ignoring all the films after the second one. That's all I ever want.
Well, it's interesting that Brodie Marshall. It's interesting, Marshall, that you said you don't think it'll happen in Star Wars because it already has. I mean, when Episode 7 was announced, there was the whole point of they weren't going to use the extended universe that already existed to create the movies, and they've already taken what people are used to think was canon, and they've gone, nope, that's just those books. They're something else now, and we've got this universe, and this is our story. So it could happen in Star Wars. Probably not the same way as with Terminator.
Do you think they do it with the big films, though?
Hopefully not. I really hope they don't.
Yeah, it's like, if you haven't seen a lot of the extended universe stuff like I have, then it doesn't make a difference when I watch the films, but I could see people being upset that stuff like that isn't canon anymore.
Okay, cool. So, let's go on to Marvel, and let's talk a little bit about the Guardians thing. We're not going to get too much into James Gunn, but he did something. He got slapped, he didn't get slapped. He actually got fired, and he is now gone. There's been some talks of Taika Waititi coming up with Marvel, and him talked about something with them. Do you think that's Guardians? If not, what director would you like to see take over the Guardians series? Because it looks like, let's just say James Gunn's totally out. So, starting with Marshall, what are you thinking? Who do you want to take over the Guardians movie?
Taika Waititi would have been my first choice to bring in as well.
Okay, perfect. I totally agree with you on that. Lay into it. Why Taika Waititi?
Thor Ragnarok was basically another Guardians film anyway, and it had the same humor, and I just think he's the best one for the job.
Yeah, Thor Ragnarok was a better sequel to Guardians of the Galaxy than Guardians of the Galaxy 2 was.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't know about you guys, but actually for me, Thor Ragnarok is actually pretty high up there with the Marvel movies. For a while, it's still kind of sitting as number one, actually. I really enjoy it. I've never sat through a movie and the entire time been like, whoa, this is freaking cool. Infinity War was amazing, but that was designed to be like that, whereas Thor Ragnarok, that was just the third one, and that's how it was, and I felt like that was a fun movie, so I'm totally down with him taking over the Guardians movie. Harrison, is that who you're thinking also, or do you have somebody else in mind?
It'd be possible that he's taking over the Guardians series. I would have hoped that he's planning on a new Thor movie. Of course, we don't know what's going to happen after Avengers 4, but I hope he's working on the next installment of what's happening with the Asgardians in space, and I want to see the Valkyrie come back. And and if Hulk happens to be there, I will be very happy. But he doesn't have to. Yeah, in terms of who would take over from James Gunn, I don't know, because I don't know who can come in and do the same thing.
Yeah, first of all, you kind of look. These are movie schedules, and I know it just got delayed, but you kind of gotta look at who's on the market, and then also who would be willing to do a Guardians movie. I don't know how much actually needs to be picked up. Also, is there somebody, a director you have in mind that normally comes along and helps picks up these projects, or is kind of like the pop, I'm not saying J.J. Abrams, but I'm saying like, J.J. Abrams type guy who normally comes along with his movies and he's like, okay, I'm familiar with this stuff, I can do it. Do you see anybody doing that for the Marvel movies?
I'd love it.
Joss Whedon?
Yeah, actually, that's a good shout. I'd love to see Edgar Wright, because he was supposed to be doing Ant-Man years and years ago, and I'd love to see an Edgar Wright Marvel movie.
I know, yeah, me too. I mean, it would have been totally unique. I don't know if there's still bad blood there, or if he could come back and totally blow everybody's minds.
Yeah.
If you have, for Volume 3 or whatever the hell they're going to call it, they might actually call it something different to kind of separate it if it does feel different. Would you be okay if it did have a bit of a weirder vibe, like a Taika movie, or, just a little bit of a different vibe, or will it bother you if these don't all feel like they kind of go together? Because the Thor movies definitely, if you watch them as a trilogy, don't really feel like the same kind of thing at all.
I don't think it'll bother me. And you brought up the perfect example, yeah. Because the Thor movies, Thor Ragnarok and the first Thor, poles apart, but they just totally work.
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha.
Now, I know this it might not be a good thing to take over the Guardian series, but in terms of like directors that I'd love to see Marvel movies from, George Miller, the Mad Max guy.
Oh yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, I'd love to see something from George Miller, like that.
Yeah, something very like stylized.
Absolutely, yeah. And George Miller's amazing because But by the way, if you want to be a movie nerd, go check out the work of George Miller, because George Miller is famous for doing Mad Max, Happy Feet 1 and 2, I think he directed, or at least produced, and the Babe movies.
Yeah.
I know, it's really interesting. Just
How'd you go
give
from
him
Mad Max
Guardians
to
3.
Happy
It
Feet?
sounds like he has the credentials for it.
Yeah. Or Robert Rodriguez.
Yeah, get Antonio Banderas and what's his name, Danny Trejo in a film.
Oh my God.
Cheech
Yes,
Marin.
please.
You've always got to have Cheech Marin.
Yeah.
We can cram them into the... Oh my God, can he be Blade? Can Antonio Banderas be like the rebooted Blade?
No, that belongs to Wesley Snipes.
Okay, here, let's talk about that real quick because, and we're running a little bit short on time, but Wesley Snipes keeps talking about this thing. Disney reboots, whenever they add something into the cinematic universe, normally it's a reboot. Is Wesley Snipes an exception with Blade, or do we give him a new cast member?
Well, the man's got to pay his taxes, so he needs this job.
No, do you think it's something that's going to happen? Are they going to count Blade as canon, or are they just going to introduce the same actor? What are you feeling is going to happen?
I would have thought Blade would be one of their Netflix shows. I think he would fit more into that universe than the whole cinematic universe.
Yeah, that's a good idea, actually.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Okay,
make it kind of R-rated / bloody, kind of like Punisher.
Yeah,
no, absolutely. I'm totally down with that. And then a little bit more of a budget to kind of separate it from, I dug kind of how the one Blade movie did the spark things with the vampires and stuff like that. So I'd be down if they added a little bit. Yeah, let's talk about Cyberpunk real quick. Are you guys psyched for Cyberpunk? I know, Harrison, you look like a character straight out of Cyberpunk, and I want to, start a petition. I want to start the petition to, at launch, I want to all play as Harrison. And Marshall, I know you're on board with me.
Absolutely, yeah.
And it'll be cool. And then when the game launches, I want everybody to send us screenshots of them playing the game, because they're going to play this whole game from that point on as Harrison. So I think that'll be totally
You'll be
rad.
immortalized, Harrison.
I'm really hoping that the character customization can get the blonde highlights, because that really was what made the look.
If not, I'm sure we could get some like hot pink highlights in there and just,
I think the spiky gauntlets really make it there.
Right? So
next to that bottle of wine.
Right. We got the hour look this week, and then Harrison, but Marshall first. Did you get a chance to look at this? Are you totally pumped for the game now? Did some stuff scare you? What are some new features that you're excited about? Just
I'm even more excited now, but I'm still slightly disappointed that it's first person.
Agreed.
But that's the only little thing that's bothering me. The rest of it's pretty much perfect.
You know, and I know it's an immersive RPG game. I was playing Fallout today. You know, I like to play the majority of the time for first person, but occasionally I'll get a new piece of gear or something. I want to see what I look like, and I just want to zoom out and maybe take a screenshot. You know, give me that ability. I have a character creator already, and I know I'm seeing them in cutscenes, and we even get the third person car thing. So, Harrison, what are you thinking about this game?
I'm interested in the game, you know, because like I do love that cyberpunk aesthetic. One of the things that's putting me off, it's not the game's fault, but looking at the gameplay trailer, it's very similar to. Did you guys see the game Observer?
You know, it's funny that you say that because it looks like Deus Ex to me, so it's already looking like other stuff. So is that a little bit of a disappointment to you?
A little bit, yeah. Because like basically, if you go watch like some gameplay footage of Observer and then gameplay footage of Cyberpunk, they're like the same game, but Cyberpunk has more guns in it. But that's not a reason to hate on it. I'll be honest, I'm a little bit punked out. I spend so many time in video games with steampunk and cyberpunk, and you know that Fallout kind of retro futurism that I've seen a hell of a lot of it. So.
I know, and if you're not sick of that, then you have Rage 2 coming out, and if you're not sick of that, then you have Fallout 76 coming out, and if you're not sick of that, then, you know, yeah, no, I get where you're coming from.
When I was watching the gameplay trailer, something that struck me, this game, and I'm sorry for any of our younger listeners, but this game has a really weird attitude to boobs and female nudity. It's really
almost
strange. Like,
you know, and I totally they mentioned repeatedly that it was an adult themed game, but there's some points where it becomes like a little pervy, you know what I mean?
One of the things that got me about it was in the character customization the screens that it shows, both the character models are nude, and they both have their crotches pixelated out, and the female character model has her breasts pixelated out. But then less than 6 minutes
out of respect for your
later,
character.
Yeah, at 6 minutes, there is a woman unconscious in a bathtub, and we see her full frontal nudity, mostly her breasts. For like 2 minutes, the camera is just looking at this woman's boobs. And I'm like...
Yeah, no, and it really is there. Like, it lingers on there, and you can't look away. That boobie's like totally like taking up a good 50% of the screen.
Yeah, it's really strange. And it's a very weird attitude towards nudity, and it's that usual, like you said, it's a mature game, so we have to put this in. And I'm like, mate.
I think it's just CD Projekt Red as a developer, because The Witcher 3 had tons and tons, just completely unnecessary nudity. Like, you get to a point you think,
maybe they're just showing off that they have the greatest, you know, boob physics or something. I know, you know, maybe they're really proud of their engine or something, and they're like, hey, we do boobs like none other. I don't know. You know, I'm not down for it, but I'm not against it either. It just seems like an odd choice, and especially in a presentation demo, they're like, here you go, like it or not. You know, and you got those a-holes out there on the internet that are going to make it hard for all the other gamers and being like, look, here, they're sexualizing women again and glorifying violence. And that's not fair for us who just want to enjoy a game. Why put that into your demonstration? Why not hide this throughout your game, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, it does get to the point where it feels like really unnecessary to keep it. With all the screenshots and gameplay, there is a lot of nudity in it, and I think it's just like, you know, we've seen enough now.
But
you know, people are just gonna buy it just for the nudity.
Yeah.
How many kids do you think can sucker their parents into getting that for them?
Thousands.
Hey, mom and dad. My parents.
Yeah,
it didn't get till I was actually like older where my parents actually cared. But when I was younger, I pretty much played whatever the hell, and that was safer back then. But you know,
it's probably different now because parents are more our age, and they have lived with games, and we know what can be in games now, and it's not all just Frogger. But like, it's quite a cynical move, because it's marketing towards younger people than should be playing a mature game, because a mature person who's old enough to play the game doesn't care about that. But
exactly.
If I was like 13 years old, I'd be like, oh, I can't wait to see all these boobies in this game. I'm going to buy it day one. But now it's like, I want a good Cyberpunk game.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay, I'm not 13 anymore, and 13-year-olds can't play this thing anyways. So you're talking to at least people over the age of 17. Okay, cool. So we talked a lot about the boob physics. Maybe when Gilbert's on next week, we'll talk about more gameplay. There was definitely some cool stuff in that I want to talk about. There were some cool weapon augmentations. But yeah, that you guys brought up a very good point. They did show us an hour demonstration, and we noticed the boobs. So you guys didn't do your job at advertising this thing to us. We're supposed to notice all the numbers and stuff,
Yeah.
So next week we'll definitely talk about some gameplay because it does look fun. It looks fun, and I want to see how big the thing actually is, how real the game actually is. So cool. Okay, let's go back to our quiz question for the end of this week. Marshall, if you were to add a battle royale into any game shamelessly, what game would you cram it into?
Lego Star Wars.
Gotcha. So we did Lego Star Wars Battle Royale.
Lego Star, and it doesn't come out for current consoles or PC. You have to own a PS3 if you want to play it.
Will there be microtransactions in your game?
Oh yeah, absolutely. You have to buy. It's $5 if you want a purple lightsaber, and there's 200 Lego characters, and you only start with 5, so you have to buy the other characters you want.
That sounds cool, though.
I'm gonna sell the idea to EA. See if they'll take it.
EA and Telltale, or what is it? Traveler Tales team up for the Lego Battle Royale game. Cool, Harrison. What are we cramming a Battle Royale mode into?
We are going to cram Battle Royale mode into FIFA 2018.
Yes, go for it.
100 football players, 50 sides, 50 people aside, and then we just get into a smaller until we're in a stadium that's just like a few feet across, and it's just 60 people passing the ball between each other.
Gotcha. And the stadium shrinking, or is there a storm inside of this massive stadium?
No. So there's a stadium. Everyone starts. Well, I don't know if you start, but like the storm is in a radius outside the stadium, and we all slowly get inside it. And then eventually it's just like a tiny little circle around the center point of the pitch.
And how are we eliminating players? Are we scoring goals off them? Are we...
death by tackles? I don't know.
Death by red card?
Yeah. Those studded boots are pretty sharp, man.
I think you've got to like I don't know, maybe you've got to sort of like trick them into diving somehow.
Okay, that's that sounds cool. I am they're both great ideas. I'm gonna give it a tie this week. I'm sorry. I guess I'm too big of a pussy. I loved both ideas and I didn't want to disappoint anybody.
If it means anything, Marshall, I think your idea is better.
Okay, good. Me too. I think
I would
Marshall,
actually play Marshall's game.
I would have played Marshall's. Harrison, I would have laughed at yours, but walked on by. All right, cool. Yeah. So that's the episode for this week. Hopefully you guys like it. Marshall, thank you so much for being on the show this week. Do you want to get any plugs, any projects you got coming out, and anything you're working on?
Nothing at the moment. I've started a new job, so I'm a bit strapped for time, but hopefully fit some things in soon.
Gotcha. Perfect. Thank you, though, Marshall. You rock.
Thank you.
Cool. And Harrison, thank you so much for being on the show. It's always a pleasure having you back. And yeah, you want to give any plugs, any shout-outs, anything you got rolling?
Yes, please. Thank you. The pleasure is all mine, of course. And this week, I would like to let everybody know about a comic dub that I've been in. It's dropped over on the Russian Comic Book Geeks YouTube channel. It is a dub of Swamp Thing issue number 1. And it's a bit special to me because apart from the characters of Dr. Holland and the Swamp Thing, I play every single male character. So if you want to listen to me having conversations with myself, go over.
Perfect.
Yeah, very good.
Cool. Yeah, I definitely want to check that one out. So, okay, cool. Thank you so much, Harrison. Thank you guys so much for listening to the show. Once again, I'm Sebastian. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter. Please make sure to drop a like on this show, subscribe, hit the bell icon, comment below, and yeah, check out social media. We're doing stuff over there. No, thank you guys for listening, though, and it's always a blast. We got episode 10 next week. Hopefully get all the originals back on, and yeah, We're going to have a blast. Thank you guys so much. This has been the Fulcrum Report.
Absolutely.
Peace out.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
If I'm honest, what I really just want to see is I just want to see the Duke of Edinburgh in Star Wars. I just want to see Matt Smith going as being, oh, and who are you? You're a Jedi, are you? What do you do?
Stop swinging that thing around my palace.